Welcome to Hello English Teacher. Today let's look at the multiple choice questions from the chapter From the Diary of Annie Frank, Class 10. If you are watching my video for the first time, please subscribe. You can listen to the explanations of chapters from classes 10, 11 and 12 English. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. Let's move on to the video now. So Annie Frank, From the Diary of Annie Frank is written by Annie Frank. I am reposting this video because there were some errors in the previous video and only 48 seconds of the video is remaining on the site. So I thought I shall do it once again. So I have done this once again for you. So now let's look into the first set of questions. Here is the extract. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience, and since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of a difference. So now let's look at the questions. Question number 1. Paper has more patience than people. What does this mean? Paper will not reciprocate to our ramblings. Paper has the power to keep everything secret. Paper will not reveal our thoughts and emotions to others. Paper is easy to obtain. So here the answer is paper will not reciprocate to our ramblings. So that's why she says paper has more patience than people. So next question. If Annie had a real friend, she would not have written a diary, will write diary in every detail in her diary, will ask her friend to keep a diary, will think twice before keeping a diary. So if Annie had a real friend, she would not have written a diary. So next question. What does the word listless in the above passage mean? Being a coward, without enthusiasm, speechless or feeling energetic. So here listless means without enthusiasm. So the answer is B. So let's look at the next paragraph. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margaret was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margaret and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Margaret went to Holland in December and I followed in February. So let's look at the questions. Question number 1. What is Annie's opinion about her father? Most helpful father, father who is adored by others. Her father is the most adorable person in her life. Her father adores everyone in the family. So here the answer is C. Her father is the most adorable person in her life. So next question. How many years older is Margaret than Annie? 2, 3, 4 or 5. So here Margaret is older than Annie by 3 years. Margaret was born in 26 and Annie was born in 29. So let's look at the next question. Where did Annie and her sister stay when her parents went to Holland? They stayed with their parents in Holland. Annie and Margaret stayed at Aachen with their grandmother. Margaret stayed in Holland and Annie stayed in Aachen. So here the answer is B. Annie and Margaret stayed at Aachen with their grandmother. So let's look at the next paragraph. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in 1942 January. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. So let's look at the questions. What happened to Grandma in 1941? She fell ill. She was completely healthy. She fell ill and had an operation. She left for Holland. So here the answer is C. She fell ill and had an operation. So let's look at the next question. Why was Annie's birthday not celebrated? She was not feeling well. Her parents were not with her. Her grandmother was not well. Her sister was not with her. So here her grandmother was not well, and that's why they did not celebrate her birthday in 1941. So let's look at the next question. This birthday was intended to make up for the other. What does this mean? Her birthday in 1942 will be celebrated in a grand manner as she could not celebrate in 1941. Her birthday was celebrated in a small way in 1941. She was not interested in celebrating her birthday in 1942. She was eagerly waiting for cancelling the celebration in 1941. So here the answer is A. Her birthday in 1942 will be celebrated in a grand manner as she could not celebrate it in 1941. So let's look at the next paragraph. Our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is a forthcoming meeting in which the teachers will decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, Cian and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday servings on their bet. So question number 1. What is the meaning of quaking in its boots? To feel excited in expectation of something, to be nervous and anxious, to be ready for the consequences, or to cooperate with others. So here the answer is B, to be nervous and anxious. So let's look at the next question. What was the teachers' meeting going to decide? Whether to promote the whole class to the next form, who to keep back and who will go up to the next form, who is going to top the class, and who is going to write the exams. So here the meeting of the teachers is going to decide B, that is who is going to be kept back and who will be going to the next form. So let's look at the next question. What was half of the class engaged in? Distributing chocolates, predicting results, making bets about the results, waiting eagerly for the result. So here the answer is C, making bets about the results. So half of the class was engaged in making bets. So the next paragraph. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches Max, was annoyed with me for ages because I talk so much. After several warnings, he assigned me an extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. So let's look at the questions. What was Annie's attitude towards her teachers? She was very obedient. She got along well with most of them. She got along well with all of them. All the teachers praised Annie all the time. So here the answer is she got along well with most of them. So the next question. Why was the old fogey annoyed with her? She talked too much in the class. She did her mathematics really well. She was always absent. She did not talk at all. So here the answer is A. She talked too much in the class. So that's why her teacher was annoyed with her. So next question. What was the extra homework given to her? Some problems in maths. Write all the notes once again. An essay on the topic, a chatterbox, or teach some of her friends to solve problem. So here the answer is C. The teacher gave an extra homework to write an essay on the topic, a chatterbox. So let's look at the next paragraph. I thought and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. So now let's look at the questions from this paragraph. Question number 1. What was she thinking so much about? How to please the maths teacher? How to write convincing arguments about the importance of talking, or why talking should not be banned in the class, or how talking can be improved in the class. So she was thinking so much about how to write convincing arguments about the importance of talking and prove that why she was talking. So next question. What according to Annie is a student's trait? Talking, whispering, gossiping, or smiling? So here the answer is A. Talking is a student's trait. So next question. What quality had Annie inherited from her mother? Cooking for the whole family, talking most of the time, talking only to a few people, or talking loudly. So according to Annie's arguments, she had inherited the quality of talking most of the time. So next paragraph, write an essay entitled "Quack, Quack, Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I'd nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. So let's look at the questions from this paragraph. Why did Mr. Keesing give her the homework for the third time? He could not control her talking in the class. He did not permit her to talk. He had enough of her talking during the third lesson. He felt irritated because of her way of talking. So here the answer is C. He had enough of her talking during the third lesson. So that's why he had given her the homework for a third time. So the next question, why did the class burst into laughter? They were mocking Annie. They wanted to support Annie. They could not control when they heard the topic of the essay. They wanted to have some fun in the class. So the whole class burst into laughter because they could not control when they heard the topic of the essay. So next question, what original and different idea did Annie come up with? She wrote a small essay about ducks and swans. She wrote a poem about swans. She wrote a poem about a father swan, mother duck, and 3 ducklings. She wrote an essay about father swan, mother duck, and 3 ducklings. So here the answer is C. She wrote a poem about a father swan, mother duck, and 3 ducklings. So now let's look at the last paragraph. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. He read the ingenuity, originality, and inventiveness to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing's always making jokes these days. So let's look at the questions from this paragraph. Question number 1. What is the summary of the poem written by Annie about a mother duck, a father swan with 3 ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much, about a mother swan, a father duck with 3 ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much, about 3 ducklings and their parents, about 2 ducklings and their parents. So here the answer is A, about a mother duck, a father swan with 3 ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. So next question, what was Mr. Keesing's opinion about the poem? He took the joke in the right manner. He asked her to write one more essay. He wanted to shift her to another form. He was very annoyed to read her poem. So here the answer is A. He took the joke in the right manner which she had written in the poem. So now let's look at the last question from this paragraph. Do you think Mr. Keesing did the right thing by allowing her to talk in the class after reading her poem? Yes, he could have believed in her inheritance theory. No, he should not have allowed her to talk. He felt bad for giving her too many homework. He wanted to give her a chance to prove that she was superior to him. So here the answer is yes, he could have believed in her inheritance theory. So that is why he might have allowed her to talk in the class. So I hope you liked today's video. For more interesting videos, do subscribe to Hello English Teacher. Like, share and give your valuable comments below. Thank you for watching.